The story begins at the prestigious Qingtang Academy, but inside these walls, a cruel confrontation is brewing. Lin Yu stands his ground against heartless bullies. They mock his pitiful vitality score with arrogant laughter. Is being weak a crime in this harsh world? The bully holds a precious bottle just out of reach. He taunts the desperate boy like a cat with mice. Lin Yu lunges forward to save his sister's only hope. Suddenly, the glass shatters into 1,000 useless pieces. His heart sinks as the medicine drains away forever. The bully grips his collar with pure, unfiltered malice. Without hesitation, he slams the powerless boy down. Trash belongs in the dumpster. The villain sneers coldly. A sudden warning echoes through the silent classroom. Oh! The cowards retreat before the teacher discovers their crimes. Lin Yu stares at the wreckage of his hard work. One day, he swears they will pay for this. A gentle hand unexpectedly appears in his vision. The beautiful Lin Xin offers a rare moment of kindness. She helps him up, but his troubles never end. Hey! A harsh reminder of work blares from his wrist. He rushes away, late for a shift he needs. His savior watches him leave with a pained gaze. Long ago, a cataclysmic event changed the world forever. Humanity evolved into powerful warriors to survive the darkness. They discovered death offered no real escape. Only one cure exists: total, absolute incineration. This hellish task is his daily part-time job. He prepares for another shift among the corpses. The heavy burden of survival rests on his shoulders. He activates the furnace, and the burning begins. His sister's medical bills are a crushing, impossible mountain. She was a genius. He possesses no talent. On their birthday, she fell into a mysterious coma. Now, she floats silently inside a glass pod. Today, he must burn a soldier and a beast. Burning more bodies will finally pay for her medicine. Suddenly, the furnace roars with a terrifying, unnatural heat. Corruption screams as the flames consume the rotting flesh. Dopey! One tiny mistake means a violent, painful end. Wait. Something is different about this specific corpse. Dark energy explodes from the heart of fire. Was this normal? No, it has never happened. Shadowy tendrils lash out like a wild, hungry animal. Suddenly, the darkness strikes him right in the forehead. Was it over? No. He felt a strange comfort. A flood of foreign memories began to play. He sees the dead warrior, a man named Li Yang. The young soldier salutes, promising to protect his home. He pushed past every limit to become a hero. The warrior trained his body with relentless and explosive power. Suddenly, alien beasts tore through the final line of defense. A massive explosion signaled the end of the brave soldier's life. Back in the crematorium, a mysterious system finished its loading. Was he truly seeing the memories of a dead hero? The soul-devouring system fully synchronized with his mind. Suddenly, the level 1 beast began to breathe once again. The creature's multi-eyed gaze locked onto its only living prey. Darkness swirled as the monster broke free from its restraints. But how could he fight such a terrifying, reanimated horror? The beast let out a blood-curdling roar and charged forward. He gritted his teeth, bracing for the impact of its claws. Ugh! The sheer weight of the monster pinned him down. Its jagged teeth snapped inches away from his sweating face. Suddenly, a choice between 3 powerful abilities appeared before him. He chose the martial arts of the fallen warrior instantly. The beast's shackles shattered into pieces under its raw fury. The system warned him to gain combat proficiency. The final chains snapped, letting the predator loose in the room. His body reacted with instincts he never knew existed. He landed smoothly, feeling the flow of soul energy rising. Blue flames of power erupted from his very pores. The jackal hound lunged, but its speed no longer scared him. He dodged the massive swipe with mere inches to spare. That was close, yet he finally felt ready to fight back. Suddenly, ancient combat memories flooded his muscles with instinctual power. He lunged forward to meet the beast. He gritted his teeth, focusing all his strength. Suddenly, his fist collided with the monster's skull. The massive hound crashed down. He stared at his hands, questioning this sudden might. In the next moment, a system interface revealed his awakening. Suddenly, dark energy began swirling around his fingertips. The system detected a fresh corpse ready for devouring. He approached the fallen jackal, gently lifted a small metallic urn. He offered a quiet prayer, rushed back toward the beast's body. His fingers brushed the creature's coarse purple fur. Suddenly, violent tendrils erupted from the remains. A torrent of raw power surged through him. Oh! Suddenly, glowing markings burned into his skin. He screamed as the beast's life flashed before him. He witnessed its terrifying origin, saw the beast tearing through innocent lives. Suddenly, visions of slaughter filled his mind. He collapsed, gasping for air. The border war's brutality truly hit him. A new prompt offered him forbidden skills. He carefully considered his path. The horrifying thought of devouring humans made him shiver. He decided to select the mysterious claw skill instead. Suddenly, dark energy erupted and consumed his entire right arm. A sharp red limb emerged from the shadows. This new power felt incredibly cool and undeniably deadly. However, his soul-devouring ability required 12 hours of rest. He sat down to study the floating system screens. He noticed an intriguing option to absorb various combat skills. Was it possible to stack these abilities for more strength? He would simply have to test that theory very soon. In the next moment, he realized his system had levels, but how exactly could he upgrade this divine interface? He decided to focus only on things within his grasp. Improving his military martial arts proficiency became the top priority. He recalled the precise movements of the previous fighter. Lin Yu began to mimic the complex combat forms. His fist cut through the air with newfound explosive power. These advanced movements were impossible for any ordinary student, yet he performed them as if he had practiced for years. Dark wisps of energy danced around his surging muscles. His body felt lighter, and his mind was completely focused. He could feel his vitality flowing much smoother than before. Without hesitation, he pushed himself to the absolute limit again. Suddenly, his name was shouted across a quiet classroom. The teacher was furious while his classmates laughed at him. Lin Yu offered a hollow apology to his fuming instructor. The bell rang, and the chaotic classroom finally cleared out. He sighed, exhausted after training martial arts throughout the entire night. Progress was frustratingly slow, despite all of his painful efforts. Would real combat be the secret key to unlocking true power? Suddenly, a loudmouth bully interrupted his quiet, deep thoughts. The jerk cruelly mocked his sister and suggested he should quit, but something about Lin Yu's presence felt dangerously different today. A brave girl stepped in to tell the bully to stop. Lin Yu ignored the noise and coldly began walking away. She noticed he looked more handsome and athletic than ever before. Infuriated, the coward screamed insults at Lin Yu's retreating back. Suddenly, his steady footsteps stopped. He turned back with a challenge for the martial arts room. The bullies laughed, thinking the weakling had finally lost his mind. Tension thickened as the two rivals glared at each other. News spread fast, drawing a massive crowd to the school gym. Both students entered the ring, ready to settle their grudge. The cruel crowd cheered for the bully to end it quickly. Zhao Lei took a stance, confident in his high vitality level. Lin Yu simply stared at him like a predator watching prey. Suddenly, the bully lunged forward with a thunderous, heavy punch. Everyone watched in horror, expecting Lin Yu to get crushed. But in a flash, he caught the massive fist with ease. His eyes glowed as he promised to make them regret everything. Lin Yu lashed out with a bone-shattering strike. A brutal fist connected directly with the bully's face. Another blow sent teeth flying across the cold floor. The arrogant thug collapsed like a pile of wet laundry. He clutched his bleeding mouth in utter disbelief and pain. Lin Yu warned him never to speak of his sister again. Quietly, he reached down and grabbed his heavy bag. He turned his back, ready to leave the trash behind. But the coward wasn't finished and reached for a blade. Suddenly, the bully lunged forward with a murderous scream. Lin Yu's gaze sharpened with a dark, terrifying intensity. The sharp edge whistled through the air toward his spine. His arm exploded into a monstrous, demonic red claw. The weapon shattered into countless useless metallic shards. Was it over? No. The monster within had finally awakened. The onlookers gasped, wondering if he was even still human. Without another word, he walked away, letting the claw vanish. The loser screamed empty threats about a powerful boss named Zhang. Lin Yu didn't care and vanished into the city lights. Later, the pale moon hung over the grim industrial crematorium. The cooldown period for his special skill had finally passed. A rude manager approached with a sour attitude. The old man barked orders, demanding more respect from him. Lin Yu endured the insults for the sake of the paycheck. He was told a fresh batch of corpses awaited him. He stepped inside. Fresh bodies lay upon the cold metal tables. Lately, the number of fallen soldiers was increasing. Monsters were breaching the frontline defenses. Was the border in danger? Surely the news would report such a tragedy. He must grow stronger. He whispered an apology to the fallen man. Suddenly, black energy erupted from his fingertips. This soldier might grant him powerful combat skills. Pure power surged as he absorbed the essence. A glowing screen presented several mysterious choices. His eyes burned with golden light. Absorption was the only way to gain proficiency. His combat art successfully reached a higher level. It reached for more, but a red warning message appeared. The skill was on a massive cooldown. He returned to his grim chores with a sigh. Meanwhile, the frontier was a total wasteland. Workers handled the broken bodies with care. Massive trucks groaned under the weight of death. The transport was fully loaded. Engines roared to life in the darkness. More bodies were heading for the crematorium. Ancient darkness stirred within the depths of the shadows. A monstrous gaze burned with a hunger for revenge. But elsewhere, a different kind of monster lurked in school. Lin Xin stood trapped, her precious notes clutched tightly. The silver-haired Zhang issued a cruel, final ultimatum. His cold eyes promised violence if she dared refuse him. "He did nothing wrong," she shouted, her voice trembling. But the bandaged bully roared back with pure malice. The girl refused to let their lies win. Suddenly, a rough hand snatched her hard work away. The bully taunted her, holding the book out of reach. "Oh, behave yourself," he barked while shoving her aside roughly. He mocked the detailed notes she wrote for a trash student. To him, Lin Yu deserved nothing but pain and failure. With a sickening sound, he ripped the book apart. Her heart shattered as the notes were torn to shreds. Before she could move, another bully grabbed her arm. "Let her go," Zhang commanded his lackey with cold indifference. He stood over her, mocking her for crying over paper. He gripped her chin, forcing her to look at him. Suddenly, Lin Qin bit his hand with desperate fury. An enraged slap sent the poor girl crashing down. The thugs laughed as she collapsed in total despair. She reached out, her hand trembling on the cold tile. Was there no one left to stop this senseless cruelty? The arrogant bully sneered at his helpless victim. Suddenly, he slammed the poor girl against the cold floor, crushed her throat while bragging about his superior strength. He released her only to deliver more twisted torment. He ordered his lackeys to break her completely. A coward rushed forward to strike the defenseless girl down. In the next moment, a powerful hand intercepted the blow. Lin Yu had arrived to stop this pathetic display. "Whoa!" The injured girl begged him to avoid a dangerous conflict. Lin Yu tossed the attacker aside like mere trash. The leader stepped forward, finally finding his intended target. Tattered notes lay ruined on the ground between them. Lin Yu clutched the torn remains of her work. Zhang Yang mocked him, laughing at the weakling's desperate efforts. Suddenly, a thunderous punch exploded against the bully's face. The impact sent the arrogant leader flying across the room. He tumbled backward, unable to stop the crushing momentum. A terrifying blue aura erupted around the hero. Onlookers gasped in disbelief at Lin Yu's sudden transformation. A bandaged lackey screamed for his master to retaliate. Zhang Yang stood back up, shrouded in strange power. He tucked away his pride and prepared a challenge. He offered a wager that would end Lin Yu's future. A formal duel application sat waiting for a final signature. The terms were set for a battle of pure vengeance. The whispers spread like wildfire through the crowded school hallway. A desperate plea echoed as his sister begged him to reconsider. The teachers warned that the vitality gap was far too wide. Arrogant bullies mocked him, demanding he kneel and kowtow for mercy. Lin Yu reached for the contract with steady hands. He had one final condition. The world must witness this duel. His name was etched onto the paper, sealing a deadly fate. Suddenly, he tossed the signed document back with icy, silent defiance. Zhang Yang smirked, believing he had already won this foolish game. Lin Yu turned away, eyes burning with a promise of total destruction. The setting sun cast long shadows over the grim crematorium. He returned to the only place where his true power grew. 3 days were all he had to refine his lethal martial arts. Determination flashed in his gaze. Losing was simply not an option. Meanwhile, the manager bragged about the influx of new, powerful corpses. These were elite beasts from the highest tier of the facility. The corrupt boss laughed, completely unaware of the monster beside him. A harsh shout ordered Lin Yu back to his gruesome duties. He played the role of the obedient worker, hiding his contempt. The heavy metal doors groaned shut, trapping them in the dark. Ow! In room 7, a worker discovered a beast of terrifying proportions, but a strange, dark energy suddenly surged from the cold carcass. Thick, black tendrils wrapped around the man's throat like a noose. A monstrous phantom erupted from the shadows, hungry for a soul. The worker screamed as he was dragged into the abyss. A chilling silence filled the massive incineration room. Suddenly, the young man paused at the echo of a scream. He dismissed the noise and returned to his task. Gazed upon a pile of massive alien beast corpses. He lamented the lack of training despite fewer casualties. Suddenly, a strange glimmer on a beast's tail caught his eye. The scales rippled with a sinister, shifting purple light. Why were the colors changing on a dead creature? Suddenly, a monstrous beast exploded from the shadows with a roar. The boy froze as the nightmare towered over him. The creature lunged with razor-sharp teeth bared. It moved with a speed that defied all logic. The massive predator vanished into thin air. This beast was camouflaged as rotting flesh all along. He realized these monsters were sneaking inside using this trick. If he failed now, this place would become a tomb. He closed his eyes to sharpen his inner senses. The room felt heavy with the scent of hidden death. Suddenly, his eyes snapped open with a lethal realization. He reached out and grabbed a heavy metal tool. He hurled the wrench through the air with terrifying force. It struck the invisible monster with a resounding crack. The beast screamed as its camouflage shattered under the impact. Suddenly, he struck out as the monster's claws slashed the air. Red blood sprayed as the struggle turned deadly. Boy touched the stinging scratch on his neck. Suddenly, alarms blared about stealthy beasts invading multiple rooms. A dark silhouette lingered by the threshold of the room. He sensed no supernatural power lingering in the cold air. Realized where that chilling scream originated from? A lifeless body lay soaked in a pool of fresh gore. How many of these alien monsters had actually breached the facility? Manager Wang appeared, fleeing from massive purple demons. The hero knew he had to act to save them now. His blade sliced through the air, striking the beast's throat. Someone shouted for everyone to rush into the safe room. Claws scraped the floor as the monsters gained ground fast. Fighting them all at once was suicide for him today. A treacherous hand shoved him toward the danger. That coward manager Wang called him worthless trash while fleeing. A massive beast loomed over him with hunger in its eyes. He kicked back desperately, barely avoiding the creature's sharp fangs. The manager ordered the door shut, abandoning the boy outside. Was this really happening? He shouted for them to wait. The heavy door began to seal his fate in that hallway. Rage boiled inside him as he cursed the selfish bastard. He screamed for them to open the door immediately. His fists hammered against the cold, unyielding metal in vain. A cold stillness settled deep within his golden eyes. Multiple coordinated shadows emerged from the darkness to finish him. The young man realized escape was no longer an option. Real warriors on the front lines never backed down from such terror. He possessed their lethal skills, forged in the heat of battle. His sister was still waiting, and death was strictly forbidden today. Suddenly, he lunged forward, targeting the first beast with blinding speed. The creature recoiled in shock, failing to anticipate his sudden ferocity. Boot gay! It was a game of survival against a nightmare made of shadows. He sharpened his focus, sensing the hidden fluctuations of energy. A precise strike connected, shaking the monster to its very core. There! A critical weakness finally revealed itself to his keen eyes. He drove his hand deep into the beast, tearing through defenses. Another shadow lunged from the darkness to strike him. He countered instantly, his clawed arms shredding the air with power. The second monstrosity collapsed, its dark form crumbling onto the floor. His body pulsed with a strange demonic energy as he turned. Demonic! One final, brutal blow crushed the skull of his dying enemy. Only two remained. Could he handle the strongest of the pack? Suddenly, the remaining shadows vanished into thin air like ghosts. Silence filled the cold room, heavier than any physical threat. He kept his guard high, knowing they were still lurking nearby. Closing his eyes, he desperately searched for any hint of movement. Every breath felt like an eternity in this suffocating dark space. Was the trap finally set? He waited for the inevitable strike. A soft sound echoed from the corner, chilling his very soul. Behind him, the real hunt was only just beginning. His eyes locked onto the hidden target instantly. Suddenly, a massive beast lunged from the shadows above, but he countered with a brutal, bone-crushing strike. A chilling presence crept up right behind him. Violent shadows slashed through the air without warning. These cowards were using dirty sneak attacks to win. His left arm was ruined, mangled beyond recognition now. Yet, the predator was still circling for the kill, but this time, his sharp eyes wouldn't miss again. Droplets of fresh blood splashed onto the tiles. Look up! The monster was clinging to the ceiling. Suddenly, he smirked because the trap was finally set. The beast descended, unaware of the fatal mistake made. He unleashed the dark power within his veins. A flash of black energy tore through the creature. Finally, the nightmare crumbled under his overwhelming might. Exhaustion began to cloud his heavy vision. He struggled to stay awake for a single second. Everything went black as he hit the floor. Silence filled the room, broken only by dripping gore. Was he dead? The light in his eyes faded. Suddenly, footsteps echoed from the dark, distant corridor. A group of elite hunters rushed toward the scene, but the sight before them was absolutely impossible. Had a single student really slaughtered all these monsters? Suddenly, a panicked man burst through the heavy doors. The captain ordered his squad to stay alert. He knelt down to examine the strange monster wounds. Wounds! But a shout rang out that the boy survived. Look at his hand, the man screamed in terror. A dark, monstrous mutation consumed the student's entire limb. Kill him now, before he turns into a beast. The demonic claws began to fade away. Ho! Why wait, the coward yelled. He is a monster. Secretly, he feared the truth of his betrayal emerging. Shut up, or you will be my next target. This boy truly defeated multiple high-level phantom scales alone. The seasoned soldiers could barely believe such raw power. His vitality is low, so this must be corruption. The captain gently lifted the boy's healed arm. True corruption never reverses like this, the captain explained. But the traitor continued to sweat under the captain's gaze. We need survivors like him for the battles ahead. In the next moment, the scene shifted to a hospital. The young warrior lay unconscious in a quiet room. Suddenly, his eyes snapped open to the sterile white lights. Relax. You are safe from the nightmare now. Who are you? The boy whispered with a frown. My name is Chen Zhen, leader of the cleanup squad. I am here to apologize for failing to rescue you. The officer sighed, admitting the tragedy was unavoidable. He praised the boy for slaying many powerful monsters alone. Suddenly, a shocking offer came. Would he join the warriors? Lin Yu beamed, his eyes sparkling with pure, unbridled excitement. But why did he desire such a dangerous life so badly? He remembered the horrors witnessed daily at the grim crematorium. Countless brave heroes had fallen, leaving only ruins behind them. He would fight to protect his family from that same fate. However, a brutal selection trial stood between him and glory. The commander sensed a hidden, terrifying potential within this boy. But wait, did he even meet the strict vitality requirements? A special recommendation was handed over, granting him entry. Several weeks remained for him to prepare for the coming storm. The heavy door slammed shut, leaving him alone with his thoughts. Finally, he could find a cure for his sister's terminal illness. Suddenly, the system flickered to life, ready to harvest a soul. An elite monster's memory offered several incredible, godlike powers. Which ability would best serve his path to absolute power? Should he take the indestructible defense of the phantom scales, or perhaps the lethal, bone-crushing strength of the monster's claws? He considered the terrifying advantage of becoming invisible. A wicked grin spread across his face as he chose. As he confidently tapped the screen, selecting the rare aura camouflage. Dark, swirling energy erupted, consuming his fragile body in light. His skin faded away, leaving nothing but a ghost behind. Lin Yu realized his invisibility required much more practice. Suddenly, his status screen revealed a massive martial arts upgrade. His claw and camouflage skills appeared before his eyes. He vowed to push these powers to their absolute limit. Dan Yang would soon regret challenging him to this duel. Deep within the forest, he blended perfectly with the environment. A tiny bird landed right on his shoulder. He meditated to master his energy like a true monster. The range of his concealment was finally expanding. Standing before the mirror, he tested his ghostly powers. Oh! His hand began to vanish into the thin air. Half of his body was gone. Suddenly, the system confirmed his proficiency had increased. He had finally done it. He prepared to show everyone who was truly trash. Meanwhile, the academy crowd gathered for a one-sided slaughter. One girl wondered if something terrible had happened to him. Treacherous traps were hidden carefully across the arena. A heavy boot hit the stage. Zhang Yang arrived, radiating an aura of terrifying flames. He mocked his opponent for being a pathetic, cowardly loser. Spectators sighed, certain that Lin Yu was already doomed. A silhouette emerged. Olga! Lin Yu walked forward, exuding a cold sense of authority. The countdown started now. Lin Yu noticed the floorboards looked suspicious. His opponent sneered, thinking he was terrified. Lin Yu demanded he get down and apologize. Suddenly, the silver-haired bully lunged with fury. A massive fist narrowly grazed the hero's cheek. The villain mocked his constant dodging. Their heavy strikes collided with a bang. The rowdy crowd roared for Lin Yu's blood. The hero's feet pivoted across the stage. Nowhere left to run! The madman screamed loudly. Suddenly, a terrifying aura of flames erupted. A devastating fire punch descended toward the target, but Lin Yu simply smiled at the danger. He vanished into thin air like smoke. The audience gasped at the impossible ghost trick. Rage boiled inside the bully as he searched. He swung wildly at the empty, mocking air. Confusion clouded his mind. Was it a hallucination? The coward's frustration reached its absolute breaking point. Suddenly, he signaled his lackey to trigger traps. High-voltage electricity surged through the perimeter fences. Towering walls of flame sealed the arena's exit. Now, the hero was trapped in hell. A witness shouted that this violated every rule. "I am the rules here," the villain declared. The villain lunged forward through the swirling flames. Suddenly, a twisted grin spread across his face. The ground shattered. The hero realized brute force wouldn't be enough. A brilliant blue armor encased the villain completely. The hero watched closely for any tiny opening. He spotted a glowing light deep within the armor. The source is right there, he thought. In the next moment, he vanished into a blur of speed. He disappeared again! The villain shouted. The villain roared in frustration at the empty air. He summoned jagged spikes of energy to impale his foe. But suddenly, the hero struck with a lethal dark claw. However, the barrier held firm. "Yeah! My defense is absolute!" the villain mocked with a sneer. The hero retreated to rethink his failing strategy. He clenched his fist, preparing a different kind of strike. Meanwhile, the villain waited for the perfect counterattack. In an instant, the hero leaped high into the air. Their powers collided in a blinding flash of light. "Is that all the strength you have?" the villain cackled, but danger lurked as a massive swing narrowly missed. A strange energy fluctuation rippled through the air. "I have found your weakness at last," the villain declared. Finally, the hero struck where the armor was thinnest. The villain mocked the hero's weak, pathetic attempts, but the protagonist quickly regained his steady footing. He lunged forward with a heavy, focused strike. Ho! It cracked. A small victory began to show. The arrogant enemy merely smirked at the minor damage. Suddenly, he caught the hero's wrist in a crushing grip. He sneered, telling the boy to rot in hell forever. But the hero's eyes flared with a cold blue light. A brutal kick sent the young warrior reeling backward. Now was the perfect moment to strike back. In an instant, an explosive force rattled the room. The villain stared in horror as his defense shattered. He mocked the hero for being a low-level coward. The protagonist stood tall, wreathed in dark energy. This final move would settle their score forever. The enemy dismissed the threat with another condescending grin. Suddenly, the hero unleashed his monstrous, glowing claws. Both fighters charged toward a final, violent collision. But the hero leaped high, evading a killing blow. He had already predicted every move with total precision. His demonic claw plunged into the broken chest plate. Oh! The villain's eyes bulged in absolute gut-wrenching shock. Suddenly, pillars of fire erupted from the impact site. He let out a final scream of pure agony. Finally, the arrogant warrior crumbled into the rising flames. Lin Yu looked down at his defeated opponent with cold eyes. The fallen warrior trembled, unable to comprehend his humiliating loss. Lin Yu simply turned his back on the broken boy. High in the stands, the crowd exploded in sheer disbelief. His loyal friend beamed, her heart swelling with newfound pride. But the director watched, his face twisting into a mask of fury. Beside him, the nervous dean scrambled to offer a weak explanation. Suddenly, the director demanded that this rule-breaker must pay a price. The dean nodded, promising a thorough investigation into these strange powers. Cruel thoughts swirled as the powerful man plotted his revenge. A sharp vibration interrupted Lin Yu's quiet exit. A message appeared, assigning him to the dangerous Crematorium 1 immediately. Stronger souls awaited him there, offering the promise of godlike abilities. He stepped through the gate, leaving the cheering arena behind. Eventually, he arrived at the sterile gates of the central hospital. A haunting sight waited behind the thick, reinforced medical glass. There she lay, suspended in fluid and wrapped in white bandages. Lin Yu pressed his hand against the cold, unyielding surface. Memories of his childhood bullies suddenly flooded back into his mind. Back then, his brave sister was the only one who fought. She never let anyone lay a finger on her little brother. A sweet smile and a lollipop were his only comforts then. Now, the roles were reversed as he stood over her. Suddenly, a heavy voice broke through his painful wall of silence. He turned, ready to hear the truth about her failing condition. The doctor delivered the grim news about her corruption. In a few months, her internal organs would simply fail. Such little time? He could not believe his ears. They realized her body had grown resistant to treatment. "Tell me another way," he demanded with total desperation. But the solution was far beyond their current reach. Suddenly, a glowing sunstone appeared in his mind's eye. Sadly, the state would not waste such treasures on her. Why would they abandon a prodigy who outshone them all? Regardless of the cost, he refused to abandon her now. The sun set over the cold metal crematorium. Darkness swallowed the facility as the night truly began. To save her, he had to become a warrior immediately. Strangely, the storage rooms were filled with only human remains. He bowed his head, offering a silent prayer to seniors. But a dark shadow rose slowly from the metal table. Suddenly, a horrifying beast with glowing red eyes emerged. Was he alone? No, danger was already upon him. A reanimated corpse? The nightmare had finally become real. The monster lunged forward with absolute murderous intent. Claws tore through the air, seeking his very life. But he reacted quickly, bracing for the inevitable impact. He clenched his fists, ready to fight for his survival. The creature hissed, its body twisted by dark energy. This corrupted shell was once a brave frontline warrior. The hero gazed at the fallen man with deep pity. Suddenly, the shell lunged forward with a beastly roar. The protagonist braced for the heavy impact. Oh, but wait! Those movements were strangely familiar. He realized the creature was using military martial arts. The monster launched a predictable, straight punch. Thinking fast, the boy countered with a sharp low kick. Now was the perfect time to end this struggle. He delivered a crushing blow to the warrior's spine. Dust exploded as the body slammed into the cold floor. "Forgive me," the young man whispered to the empty air. Beep! A strange sound echoed through the chamber. The corpse began to glitch with violent, dark energy. What on earth was happening to this poor soul? In an instant, the warrior grew into a hulking beast. Had he completely lost every trace of his humanity? The new monstrosity struck with overwhelming, raw power. Its speed was unlike anything he had seen before. Gah! Giant claws sliced through the air with deadly intent. The monster hammered down a devastating overhead blow. It let out a blood-curdling screech from deep within. The hero barely avoided the massive, crushing strike. Could he survive this new, terrifying level of strength, the ground shattered beneath the weight of the beast. Even the attack patterns had turned into pure, mindless chaos. Memories of a true warrior flashed before his eyes. He finally understood what a hero should truly represent. But this beast before him was no longer a human. This tragic transformation was never his senior's intention. He vowed to grant the man one final, merciful favor. Dark energy pulsed violently from the creature's massive chest. Suddenly, he lunged toward the monster's only vulnerable weakness. Steel met flesh in a desperate, high-stakes collision. "Senior, rest in peace," he whispered with heavy resolve. His fist exploded through the center of the beast. The monster let out one last, bone-chilling scream. The fallen warrior finally slumped to the floor. Suddenly, a blue screen announced a powerful new upgrade. He knew he only won because his senior lost himself, but a sinister shadow began to leak from the corpse. Black tendrils of pure corruption consumed the remaining body. He gasped as the toxic miasma filled the air. Desperate, he slammed his hand against the sealed exit. There was no cure for this decaying, irreversible rot. If he stayed, he would surely become a monster too.